for our next piece, a little bit about a trio. For those of you who don't know brass music, usually there are trumpet players in brass chamber groups, right? Which we decided not, because trumpet players are always working, right? So we had time to rehearse. However, this puts pressure on Tim, because he has to play all the high parts. Yeah. So my job now is to talk for a few minutes and get Tim to rest, right? People often assume that brass players are sort of thuggish, sort of beer-drinking, non-thinking kind of people, right? And we're trying to give a different reputation for them, right? A different kind of classical music, right? And often you will find us, in tuxes on fancy stages, like the New York Philharmonic stage, wearing a vest now. In fact, I remember a time when Tim and I were on a stage with a bunch of brass players, all wearing tuxes, playing for an NYU graduation, and looking sharp and everything. And we played the opening ceremonial music, and everyone clapped, and it was wonderful, right? And often the brass players leave, right? But they wanted us to stay on the stage, I think, because we looked so good, right? So we stayed on the stage. However, graduation is long, right? And so there was a couple hours for us to kill. And at one point, someone, none of us, passed a little jar of something called fart putty. And people were sort of looking at it. It was this little jar that you were supposed to push in and it makes a noise, right? And so we were sort of looking at it, of course, being sophisticated and we weren't doing anything with it. However, there was a tuba player in the group, not Scott.
Not Scott, and not in this room currently.
Now, if you look at the size of a tuba mouthpiece, it's a large metal thing, right? You want to hold your mouthpiece up? It's attached. The tuba player in the group decided to thrust his tuba mouthpiece into the fart putty. It produced a huge sound. Now, people complain about the old Avery Fisher acoustics, but it still had a lot of sound, right? The speaker stopped. All of the faculty on stage in their gowns turned and looked at the brass players in the back. We all had music stands in front of us. We all dropped our heads behind the music stands and hid. I don't have an ending for this story other than to say that we are trying to set a new example for low brass players in sort of quality and sophisticated brass playing. All right, this next piece is the aforementioned Norwegian dances. We've decided to add a little story to it for the young people in our audience, so I hope you enjoy it.